All right, boys. It's the Loco Sports Lowdown Wednesday night edition on November the 5th as we prepare for the high school football playoffs. It's the Loco Sports Lowdown. It's mostly going to be Loco Pigskin preview. We'll be real with you. Although I did see, Wes, that the tennis season did come to a close with Hilton Head bowing out 4-1 to Gray Collegiate in the lower state semis. So good run for the Seahawks, but that came to an end yesterday. So yeah, we're all systems go now for high school football playoffs coming up on Friday night. We decided with 16
Woo!
games.
16 games.
Um,
Wow.
We thought we had 17, but Cross
yeah, Cross got
last did not
nixed.
make the playoffs. There's a chance even that they're winless, they still would have gotten in, but it looks like that's not the case. So, yeah, we got ourselves 16 playoff games. No, local and local games, but the potential of that in the rounds to come. But yeah, I mean, tremendous action across the board. All but two of our area teams will be in playoff action, which is it's really exciting. A lot of interesting, and fun games in this first round. Just looking at it and eyeballing some of the matchups, we should be
Yeah.
in for some good. But what we decided to do is, we could do
Yeah.
16 games in one night, but we don't want to do a 2.5 hour show. So instead, we're gonna break it apart. SCISA tonight and high school league tomorrow to
Yeah.
And
get a
I
I
actually didn't
split them up.
realize that until I was in the car. Like, oh, they're splitting them up. I better make sure that I join tonight. So I was able to get out of my obligation and due time to join y'all.
Oh, well, we apologize for switching it up on
It
you last
was,
minute, but
yeah,
uh,
it's okay.
Wes,
It's all
Wes
good.
hit me up this evening and said, we doing a show tonight? And then we discussed it and we decided maybe that was the best course of action.
Absolutely.
Rather than a 16 preview marathon tomorrow night, let's split it up, give Skiza
Would
their
be
own night. And then tomorrow night we'll do the high school league previews and we'll have Jalen Singletary, Agent Zero, scheduled to
nice.
join us as well. So looking forward to that. But as far as the Skiza games, yeah, we got 1, 2,
seven of
3,
them.
4, 5, 6, 7 of them, including 4 in Skiza 1A.
Yeah, the whole
Um,
bracket, the
the
whole
whole
the whole 1A
bracket
bracket.
belong, all your
Yeah,
bracket are belong to us.
yeah.
That one's all us. So yeah, looking forward to previewing all those games tonight. The show tonight brought to you as always by Mickelson Law Firm and WHHI TV, our all-star sponsors.
We'll be
Mickelson
there
Law
in the
Firm with
morning.
us since the beginning. We have they were our first sponsor back in 2017, still supporting us to this day. We thank them very much. They're our official real estate closing attorney, presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage, and we'll be talking about the Eagles a lot tonight. Maybe a sneaky contender, the Eagles, but
Would be.
yeah. So looking forward to previewing all these games. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I got a text and threw me off my game. Mickelson Law Firm with us since the beginning, our all-star sponsor, and then WHHI TV, our partner in local sports. Marcus Walsh always moonlighting with us, but WHHI TV is main squeeze. He dances with the one who brought him.
That's
WHHI
right.
TV, and they'll be back on the air soon with basketball this season. But until then, you guys will be wrapping up the football season. You guys always do a great year-end wrap up of the season, looking back on all your
The
bowl games and
the
and
the plan actually we haven't done that because of constraints both with manpower and whatnot the last couple of years. That's
okay,
why we did the 5 minute wrap around at Bluffton May River. But the plan is certainly I never do this the first week of the playoffs because there are so many teams that are involved.
oh yeah,
In the next couple of weeks, as things kind of settle down and we really feel things out and we know who the creme de la creme is, I'm
yeah,
going to go on with Robin Zimmerman and talk
oh
about
yeah,
it.
very good.
So that's the plan.
And we'll of course keep you updated on WHHI news with last night in the Loco and Loco
Hey,
lights throughout the playoffs and throughout the year. So you can check that out on
Monday through
WHHI.
Thursday.
Yes, sir. Let me see if I can find the brackets here. La la la. I had them open. Now I don't. We'll get the brackets up as
Yep.
we look into the foosball playoffs here, getting the SCISA brackets up, and we'll start with 3A. Let me see if I can get that to go full screen. There we go. All right, SCISA 3A bracket for you. Going to break it down. Max Araj will be joining us in a bit, and he'll have a lot
Well,
to
he's
say
our
about this
SCISA
as
guy,
well.
so hopefully,
Yeah.
So yeah, he's our big SCISA guy.
Any of the Stricklander
I
SCISA
will
centric.
share, while we're stalling a little bit for Max, let me share that Stricklander was not feeling the best tonight, so he decided to sit it out. He wanted to get on with us, but he's a little under the weather.
Okay.
But good news, we told you last week during Loco Pigskin Live that Rylan Brunson was inexplicably thrown out of the game when a AJ player swung on him.
Hmm.
But Strick reports that the hashtag Free Rye campaign was a success. Rylan will be eligible to play on Friday, so that's huge because he is a force
That's
on both
important.
sides of the ball for them, and of course their quarterback. They feel like they're going to take on the best team in 1A in Williamsburg Academy, and certainly they've made that case. But they're going to bring up some eighth graders. They're going to, they had a great JV season, and they're going to make the best of it and try to build for next year. And also, going back to last week, that we told you how much how big the rivalry is between Patrick Henry and Andrew Jackson. Big
Yeah.
enough that Coach Joe Gray Peoples got his head shaved because they beat Andrew Jackson. That's
Wow.
uh, that's a
Oh,
rivalry when you get your head shaved if it happens. But let's do this. Let's go through the brackets real quick first, and then we'll come back and hit the matchups. And Max should be joining us here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so he should be around for the previews. But
yeah.
we'll let the
First off,
three of
yeah,
them.
tough finish there for Hilton and Guy girls tennis, but
Yeah,
I was really impressed by how they performed this season, and then that match that I saw. But Greg Leach is a real powerhouse, not just in football, but in tennis as well. And still got state singles coming up in like a week or so. So
yeah,
I think there were some girls on that team that I think have a good shot to take it deep over there. So that just leaves us with football, and then cross country is
yep.
ramping up this weekend with Lower State qualifiers
Lower
getting
State.
going. So
Wow.
we will have a lot more coverage from the cross country trails as both
Yeah,
the Bluffton boys and girls look to defend their titles.
yeah, and I'll be in attendance with the Hardyville boys. So we're hoping to have a good showing. We're not trying to probably not bringing home any hardware or anything, but we're trying to finish as strong as we can. So and we've already started wrestling practice, so we're into that now. I'm literally coaching two sports at the
Yep,
same time, right? Well, three because I'm
yep.
coaching a softball team too.
Then USB
That
women's
Yeah,
start
soccer.
Monday wrestling
More.
practice for you guys.
it started Monday. Yeah, yeah.
Then
Love
USB women's
basketball.
soccer at Lander on Saturday in the first round of the Peach Belt
Oh, okay.
tournament. So another piece of news going on is fall sports are starting to wrap up. Obviously,
Yeah.
football just heating up in terms of playoffs, but a couple more fall sports to keep an eye on. And yeah, we're a few weeks away, as
And how'd
mentioned.
they do with Lander in the regular season?
I believe they lost, but it was close. I think it was a one goal
Okay.
game. So I think it's
Okay.
having to go there is tough, but
Yeah.
it's
Is that the
the end of the
4-5
season did
game
not certainly
or
go as ideal as you would have hoped. But it was a 1-0 loss, and it was a tight
okay?
one on the road a couple weeks ago. So seeing
Okay.
them again, you never know what can
Yep.
happen, and
And what's USCB seed?
they're the 7th seed, I believe.
Okay, so it's a 2-7 game. Okay.
You know,
All right. Well, maybe they
but
can
I'll
pull
tell
it
you what,
off.
if they can knock them off, and let me just one quick second as
Yeah,
I
might as
pull
well.
up the final standings here. Yeah, so if they win that game, they'll get either Columbus State or USC Aiken. I think that one could be a winnable game on either side, especially I think Aiken. I mean, it's not the question they could pull off the upset. So I mean, stranger things have happened in Peach Belt
Indeed.
tournaments. So despite a rough trend for USCB, you really never know.
Indeed. You never do. All right. Well, let's check out the brackets here and go through those first, and then we'll see if we get Maxi in here for the picks. But looking at the SCISA 3A bracket, of course, this is a simple 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3 concept here. You got 2 regions. So you got the, and I didn't double check to make sure these are right. I guess I should. But Wilson Hall, First Baptist, that should be a walkover for Wilson Hall. HHCA Trinity Collegiate, we'll talk about later, but looks like a very equal matchup. And they've
Yep.
had some great games over the years. You remember the last time they played, Wes?
Ooh, that was a classic,
Ah,
absolute
the
classic in the state championship.
monsoon.
In the rain, and Hayden
Yeah,
Shin with one of the best performances you'll ever see. I believe 7 touchdown passes in that game and
yeah.
losing effort
In a
in
loss.
overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy, crazy game. One of the
he
craziest
was a
games
great player.
I've ever
I
seen. He really
Yep.
was.
I wish I
He was
could
a
have had a
gunslinger.
chance to cover more of his career. I called a couple of games. That was around when was he there?
Oh, you're gonna
I believe
ask
his
me
senior year was
years?
19, so
Yeah, 18,
late
19,
2010s. Yep.
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
I didn't call him in football then. I called him, maybe saw him on the sidelines, but he played basketball as well.
he
He
did.
did, I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah.
I called him more in
yeah.
basketball, but he
Yeah.
was
Okay.
a heck of an athlete.
Yes, he was,
But
and went on and was playing quarterback for the USC club team. The last I heard, I
Cool.
don't think he is anymore, but he was at one time, which is cool. And then on the other side of the bracket, Pinewood Prep should take care of Camden Military, and then the other one that we'll preview later on, Florence Christian against JP2, and that is another one that I think, I think the matchup. HHCA got the matchup they wanted with Trinity. I think JP2 kind of gets the matchup they want with Florence. I've delved into this matchup a little bit, and I think it's a good one for JP2. I think they can hurt them with that ground game, and if they can just limit the passing game, they'll be in pretty good shape. In the 2A bracket, you got Hilton Head Prep going on the road to Calhoun. They played them in the playoffs last year. We'll preview that game in full a little bit later on. And the winner of that one will get PD or Orangeburg Prep, which should be a good little matchup. Bethesda Academy looks like the favorite to win this whole thing. They've been a juggernaut this year. They'll roll past Thomas Sumter and then probably Greenwood Christian as well. I expect Bethesda to definitely be in that final game, and I'd expect Calhoun to be there along their side. But we'll see how it plays out over the next couple of weeks because thing about the SCISA tournament is it gets over with fast. I mean, you win one, you're in the
yeah,
semis. You win two,
Yep.
you're
It's
in
quick.
the championship, and it comes to a head real quick. So you just
But you
gotta
get
pull.
good matchups right away, even in that
Sure
first round.
do,
It's
especially in this 1A bracket.
yeah, it is pretty wide
It's
open.
1A bracket, and we'll
Yeah.
preview all 4 of these because we got all 4 of these in our coverage area. Williamsburg and Patrick Henry, we told you a little bit about that. That's going to be a tough one for PHA, but they're looking forward to the challenge and the long road trip. THA at home in a rematch against Carolina Academy, where they lost a heartbreaker to them just 2 weeks ago on the road. So they get a chance at revenge, and I like their chances there.
I do
Colleton
too,
Prep
especially
at
with what they
home.
did against BA.
Yeah. Colleton Prep at home against Lee Academy. This is not your granddaddy's Lee Academy team. I think Colleton Prep's gonna be able to cruise there. And then Dorchester Academy and Beaufort Academy. BA, you mentioned that big win for THA last week. Marcus, this could have been the other way around. It could have been
Yeah,
BA at home against Carolina, a team they beat earlier in the year. But instead, they have to go on the road to Dorchester, a team they lost to in the regular season. So interesting scenarios there
yeah, for sure.
on the SCISA 1A bracket. And then let me see here. Um, I'll pull up the other brackets that I haven't made special brackets for from the SCISA website, and we'll do them their due diligence because we don't cover them per se, um, but we talk about a lot of these teams throughout the year. Uh, so let's see here. It's a little big, yo. Let's minus it a little. There we go. All right, let's switch to this tab instead. There you go. 8-man bracket. They ended up. So here's what we got from Stricklander. He had Crossan as the 3. He's our official SCISA bracketologist. He had Crossan as the 3 seed and going to Lawrence, but he was not sure whether they would be awarded a berth because they did not win a region game. So even though there were only 3 eligible teams from their region, I guess there's also a stipulation that sometimes you have to win a region game, and they didn't. So, or maybe they forfeited. We're not really sure, but they're
Okay.
not playing Lawrence as expected. So Lawrence will get a bye, as will WW King, which is interesting because those are both from the same region, and I would have thought that Holly Hill would have
Hmm.
gotten one of the buys, but I guess since our region didn't, then they would have had to match up 2 teams from the same region, so that wouldn't have worked. So I expect Holly Hill to get to the championship, though. I like them, um, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jefferson Davis comes through either. There's your 1A bracket. We told you about that already. That is consistent with what we have. They're all kicking at 7:30. Same here, all 7:30. Even though that font is a nightmare to read. And then there's your 3A bracket. Oh, Northside Christian. I had somebody else in there.
Hmm.
Oh, I had Camden in there, but maybe Camden declined. I'm not sure. Northside Christian is in there. And then here's the 4A bracket. I have not seen this yet. Northwood and Hammond get buys. Max has gone on record that Northwood could be the team that knocks off Hammond this year. And then Lawrence Manning Portergat should be a good one. Heathwood and Lippin should be a good one. Yeah, good bracket there. I like that. Uh, all right. I don't know where Max is. What are we gonna do? We don't have Max.
So we have to dive
I
Let's
in.
suppose we'll survive
let's get rolling.
Dive
without him,
in.
but we
Yeah.
gotta roll. You guys want to start with the 1A?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Let's start with the 1A. Because Max brings the most insight to the HHCA conversation. Um, so we'll start here. And we'll start with the toughest matchup for the Loco, which is Patrick Henry at Williamsburg. PHA was, they had to win to get in last week against AJ, and they got the job done in a battle, 26-6. We told you Joe Gray Peoples got a new haircut on account of that, and here's Max. He's made it just in
Hi guys.
time. We stalled.
Just in the nick
We
of
we
time.
we broke down the brackets. We're just starting our previews. Starting off with
Jeez.
Patrick Henry at Williamsburg, and talking about how Joe Gray Peoples got a buzz. He got his hair shaved because of the win over AJ last week. So usually when you're celebrating at the end of the regular season, that means you're not planning on sticking around too long for the playoffs. And I think they understand what it is tomorrow night. Or Friday night, they're gonna have to go up long road trip. They're going up there and battling a really good team. PHA bringing the 8th graders up for the ride, some of them, and trying to get them acclimated to the idea of playing varsity football next year. So, I think it's going to be good vibes for Patrick Henry. I think Kai Sobey has really emerged in this I formation they're running now. I think they'll be able to move the ball a little bit, get some first downs, maybe put up some points. But Williamsburg has proven to be a really
They
formidable
are a
team,
force.
and
They are.
they're gonna wear you down over 4 quarters. We've seen them in a bunch of state championship games over the years, both against HHCA and against Colleton Prep and Thomas Hayward,
Yeah,
and
and I think they
they're
might just
a
get back to it
good
this
football
year. I
team.
think they're looking like the favorites, but shout out to Kai Sobey. He was a workhorse against Andrew Jackson, averaged 13 over 13 yards a carry, and
Jeez.
that's kind of the performance. Expect numbers like that against a better Williamsburg defense, but he needs to be the focal point, and the run game needs to get going if Patrick Henry wants to have a chance to hang around. And I think this team has really grown. I think they've gotten better. I was impressed with what I've seen, especially those Sobe brothers, Luke and Kai, were tremendous at combined for 11 total tackles or solo tackles in that PHA win over Andrew Jackson. But this Williamsburg team, you have just said it, but they have been a force for a number of years. Ever since they started getting the state championship games, they knocked off HHGA, I believe, one year. And they just kept coming back and coming back, and man, they had a couple of studs
Yeah, they
come
did.
through here. in the last few years. It seemed like they were just always a step ahead, and they continue to reload, and it's the Grant Small show, who has been just a on a tear in the run game, and it has been difficult to stop when he's got some open space. So 1,500 yards on the season and 24 touchdowns. So it's going to be all hands on deck for Patrick Henry to find a way to slow him down. And if you remember Conrad Boulder,
Yeah.
Micah Boulder, I'm sure related. He is
Yeah.
Micah's a senior and continuing the tradition over there
Yeah.
at Williamsburg Academy. I think they're off and just a little too loaded for PHA and what they have. So, a chance to play another game and get some younger players up to speed, but it's going to be all Williamsburg in this one.
Yeah,
I
think so.
I agree. I think they are a perennial power. The days of Patrick Henry being really good, as we've talked about multiple times this year, especially lately, those days are over for now, and they're definitely in a rebuild and retool. They might be able to get back to that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see. I like Williamsburg big. They have a lot of talent. We see it at this time of the year, just about every year, and that's not going to change here in 25.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I've seen Williamsburg firsthand over the years, especially that Champions State title game against Hilton Head Christian. I think this is a program for the last 5 years or so, maybe even longer, that has been, among the top of SCISA football programs. And they have continued to be consistently solid across the board and have made multiple state championships over the years. I think in Patrick Henry's case, I think this is a learning experience for some of these
Yeah.
younger players to understand where their program should be in the next couple of years and where these kids would want the program to be in the next couple of years is. And I think this game will be a great example to show, this is what we want to be at in the next at least 2 seasons or so. And I think this is going to be a good learning experience for Patrick Henry. Unfortunately, I just think Williamsburg has got too much for them to handle right now. But I say Patrick Henry in the next couple seasons is a team to watch for because they're young, and the more experience they get, the better they're going to be. But I think I like Williamsburg in this one. Just it's going to be too much for Patrick Henry.
Yeah, Williamsburg bounced them in the first round last year, 55-6. So this is a rematch of last year, and you just try to keep it a little closer than that, and that'll be progress. But fun fact: PHA has not beaten Williamsburg since 1992. They haven't played very many times since then because for a long time Williamsburg was 11-man and PHA was 8-man. So they didn't play between 99 and 24. But nonetheless, that's a long time. It's one of those fun anomalies. So Patrick Henry, I got Williamsburg. I'll take the Stallions to roll there. And they will get the winner of Thomas Hayward and Carolina Academy. Again, they just played 2 weeks ago up at Carolina. It was a back and forth game. Carolina got up big early. THA came all the way back. Josh Gibson had a monster night, had a bunch of touchdown runs, got them back. They took the lead, and then Carolina put together a drive and scored with like 3 minutes left and regained the lead. Thomas Hayward came up short in their drive. So really competitive matchup on the road, a loss for THA, but now they come back home. They're coming off a huge win over BA where they really dug deep and showed some grit. And I just think when you got 2 evenly matched teams and they play twice and they're, home and home, I like Thomas Hayward a lot in this game. I think last week showed a lot about that team.
Yes, it did.
I think that
sure.
it showed these 2 teams were in completely different directions than what happened in the first game. That was a while ago. You saw what Thomas Hayward was able to do and just the consistency that they displayed, not just on the offensive side, but getting big stops on D. I think this is a much improved, much more focused Thomas Hayward team than what we saw earlier on the season when they first played this team. back. Well, actually, it wasn't. It was
It was
actually
just a
pretty
couple
recent.
weeks ago.
Actually,
Yeah,
pretty
it was
recent.
just
Yeah,
2 weeks
it was.
ago.
It was the
Yeah.
24th. So, yeah. I mean, but even so, I mean, this is a team that you lost to by 3. But
Yeah.
this time you're at home and you're coming off a lot of momentum with a win over a good Buford Academy team. So, I think that if you're Thomas Hayward, you're flying this game with a lot of confidence. You have a run game that's really starting to pick it back up, and I mean, if you can execute the formula that you saw against Buford Academy and make good
Mhm.
quick stops on defense and minimize those missed tackles, which I think we saw to a good degree against the Eagles last week, I think they'll be in good
Yep.
shape. And if they're able to get on top of them early and really do a good job of making use of the ground game of guys like Josh Gibson, I think that offense is going to get some looks and take what Carolina Academy gives them. I think that they pick up right where they left off and win by a decent margin. I don't think I think they don't just win it. I think they win convincingly, and I think Thomas Harris is back. They showed it last week. They play with a bunch of resolve. I guess the one thing is they had a couple players that were banged up. So they need to make
Yeah.
sure that if you just hope they have enough bodies when the playoffs roll around, everyone's kind of banged up and fatigued from the season. If they can withstand that, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape for this one. I like THA. I obviously having the eye test from last week. I think that they're well then prepared for what they're going up against as they take on Carolina Academy for a second time. I think they're primed for a round 1 win.
I haven't seen THA this year, the way our schedule worked out, but from all reports and certainly reading up on them and talking about them here, I was waiting for them to start looking like the THA of old. They did that last week, and with the fact that this is a home game, you alluded to it just a few minutes ago, JJ. They played Carolina Academy 2 weeks ago and
Mhm.
lost a close game. And there's a lot that can be said about learning from it, gaining that extra momentum in between,
Mhm.
and then taking off, full speed ahead. It reminds me of the New York Giants and New England
Mhm.
Patriots situation from that Super Bowl. I think that was in the 2007-8 season. And, they played, they lost, they played well, talking about the Giants, and then they met them, 6 weeks later and pretty pretty well handled them. Same situation here. THA starting to look like the real deal in this situation. I'm going to take them, and I'll take them by a good couple of touchdowns over a very good Carolina Academy team.
Yeah, going into their game last week against Buford Academy, I really couldn't trust Thomas Hayward because throughout the entire season, the problem I've had with them is inconsistent. I mean, they've been inconsistent for most of the season. They've gotten a couple decent wins, but they've also had some losses that were, we expected it to happen just because the teams they were playing were a little bit better than them, but they were inconsistent in some of their play. I mean, the last time I saw them obviously was their first game of the season against Calden Prep, and Calden held them down on in terms of Thomas Hayward's running game. They held him down
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yep.
And
That
so
was very early in the season, though.
yes, well, it was their first game, and I hadn't
Oh,
seen them
right,
since,
right.
but what I could see was, just I saw inconsistencies that I didn't like to see in this Thomas Hayward team. I really do like this team, and I think that Buford Academy game last Friday kind of showed me. I think they've figured out how to stop the inconsistencies and put together a solid effort in a football game. And I think in their game against Carolina Academy a couple weeks ago, I think they showed that too. I just think Carolina Academy, being that was a road game for Thomas Hayward, wasn't
It
it?
was.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think, being that it's a home game, it's going to be loud over there in Ridgeland for a Friday night playoff game at Thomas Hayward. It's going to be crazy. I think it's a close game again. I just think Thomas Hayward gets this one. I think it's a one-score game again between these two because I think they're very evenly matched between the two of them. So I like Thomas Hayward in this one, but I think it's only by a one-score game. I think a touchdown at most.
Yeah, I think it's pretty tight, but 2 touchdowns, I can get down with that. I can get down with 2 touchdowns. But yeah, we're on consensus on both those picks. So we got Williamsburg against THA, and then Colleton against Lee Academy. Lee just lost to Carolina last week to slide to this 4 seed. They played last year in the playoffs. Colleton Prep beat them 38-14. That was the first time that they had beaten them. Since it was the first time they had played rather since that 2015 state championship when Lee won that game. So this is become a little bit of a rivalry. Colleton Prep has won all of them but that one in the state finals. We love what Colleton Prep's been doing. They had last week off. You got the rest versus rust conversation to be had about that. But I think with football, 1 week off is usually a good situation, much more than
if you're
bad as far as
healthy,
that
Yeah,
goes.
different than
Yeah,
certainly.
baseball.
yeah.
Sports. Yeah.
I like Colleton to take care of business here. I don't think Lee really has enough explosiveness
Yep.
on
I
offense
mean,
to really be a
it
threat.
wasn't too long ago where Lee Academy was the class of 1A. They were dueling Thomas Hayward every year. It was the Rebels and it was the Cavaliers seemingly
Yep.
Yep.
every state championship game not too long ago, but not this year. Lee Academy has lost a lot. They're not quite the strong team they were when and then eventually beat Thomas Hayward and won it one of those years in 22, I
Yep.
believe. But this Lee Academy team, I don't think they're up to the standards of where they were in the past. And this Carlton Prep team still working like they're built for success in the playoffs. And Cal Owen has become an absolute superstar for them. He has looked the part and then some. For this Warhawks team, and I've been very impressed how they bounced back ever since they lost the opener to JP2, and they really, next week they went to St. John's Christian. They blew the doors off of them, and then they just kept rolling ever since. And only they just the one game dropped against the good Dorchester Academy team, who they'd love to see again, in which I would believe
In round 2.
would be
Yeah.
in round 2. It's
In the
correct.
Borough.
Yes, so those two teams, unless BA knocks them off, we'll get to that one in a
True.
bit. But as for Carleton Prep, I think that they're going to start off very very strong as we have seen throughout the year, and just use that quick strike offense of Cal Owen and this Carleton Prep team in the past have really been known for the defense. I think the offense that we have seen this year has been one of their best that we have seen, and Owen's been a big factor, but there have been others as well.
Yeah, because like that
Including
that state runner-up team was
yeah. Oh,
offensively, it
they
was
were
Cole
tremendous.
Davis.
Yeah,
It
Davis was
was just
great.
Cole Davis.
He was a tremendous passer, by the way. But yeah, Tanner Wolf has been involved this year as well, and then Corbett has
Yeah,
really
and
broken
Hartman
out some
Fisk
touchdown
and yeah,
grabs.
He's a
Junior,
monster.
yeah, he's been a dog this year. So the offense has been maturing. I think that continues. I think they put up a good size total on the Cavaliers. I got Colleton Prep big in round 1.
I do too. I'm really impressed with this team and what they've got going on. They definitely can put up a bunch of points, and ever since they lost to JP2, they continue to impress. And having the week off, getting certainly some time to focus on a playoff scenario. And Lee, as Wes and JJ said, they used to be the class of 1A. They're not the class anymore. There's a lot of really good teams in this 1A bracket. Colleton Prep is certainly one of them. I am going to take Colleton Prep big as well.
Yeah,
or
my thing is, this has been, the funniest thing about 1A football for me is there are a lot of rivalries that are cross-region rivalries, which I love so
oh
much.
yeah, oh yeah.
When you have those cross-region rivalries like Thomas Hayward, Carolina
Well, because
Academy.
you play the same teams in the playoffs every
Yeah,
year
Yep.
after year
right.
after year.
But it
Often in the
becomes so
first
much
round year after year.
But it becomes so much more fun, especially,
Yeah,
Thomas Hayward, Dorchester Academy, because that's always a fun matchup between those
yeah.
two. And always been fun to watch these cross-region matchups. And then when they play again in the playoffs, it's just become rivalries between these teams, which is always the thing I love most about 1A football in SCISA. But in this game, I just, for me, Carlton Prep's been on a tear. Obviously, they had that tough loss to Dorchester a couple weeks back. You get a week off, collect your thoughts, get yourself ready for the playoffs, and I think they will be ready for the playoffs. But the other thing is, you look at Lee Academy; they have not been, on their hot stuff this season. Only a 2-7 record, and their 2 wins came against St. John's Christian, which I think we all know where St. John's Christian has been setting as a program this season.
Right.
And then,
Yeah.
a team in the division above them in Dillon Christian. Other than that, they have not had much to show when it comes to 1A football this year. I just don't see Lee Academy having the power. I think they're a very young Lee Academy team as well, because usually when they're more experienced, they're a force to be reckoned with in 1A football always. I just think they got a very young team this year that just hasn't been able to find their footing, and I don't see them finding their footing in Walterboro for a playoff game on Friday night. I'll take Carlton Prep to win this one.
All right. Just for funsies, if we were picking it on out, who you got? Who you got winning it all?
For me, it's between 2. I think it's either Williamsburg or I think it's Carlton Prep.
Yeah.
I think those 2 are going to face each other. I really think so.
I kind of do too. I don't know.
And the problem
I'm eager to see what Carlton looks like this
Yeah.
week. Like you mentioned, the last time they played, they lost to Dorchester.
That's
Then
what
they had a
scares
week
me.
off. So they've had 2 weeks of hard practice after a loss. I think they are going to come out fierce. Like I really
they're going to be
do.
firing on all
And
cylinders. You can
and
better believe that.
and
The thing
I
with
think they're also probably they got this game. They've probably been game planning for Dorchester again from day one after that game.
And the
They're
best
going to be
part
ready
about
for
it
that game.
is for them, if they do play Dorchester, it'll be a home game for them.
Yeah,
And so I think
Yes.
yeah.
Yep, that would be
that's
huge.
a huge factor as well.
And then you put them on a neutral field with Williamsburg, and I think you've got a heck of a game.
I think it's
So,
I think it's a even matchup. I mean,
I do
could
too.
see either of those 2 teams making it. I think those 2 would be. Yeah, I'd say those 2 would be favored to get to that game at Charleston Center, which I believe is where they will have it
Yeah.
again. I have not seen confirmation, but
I presume.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's standard
I
deal.
would think so.
yeah. But either way, yeah, I think those 2 are the favorites, and I kind of think this is Carlton Prep's year. They have
I agree.
another center, with Kale Owens, and he's really shown so much in multiple facets of his game. Cole Davis is great, but I just think that Owens is that much better, more refined. Their defense is still great. They've got some dudes up front. I just think that Carlton Prep is really on a mission this year to get that job done. But Williamsburg is a very good team, and I would not be surprised
They're
at
a
all
unit.
if they run away
Yeah.
with this thing.
That team is a
they'll-
unit, by the way. I was actually
The only
watching.
thing I don't know I can agree with is that Cale Owens is better than Cole Davis because
I think Cale Owens.
really
I don't.
good. Cole Davis is on the roster at Alabama too, by the way.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was tremendous. I guess I
He's a
haven't
little
really,
more refined as a passer, maybe, but I
Yeah.
think he also just has better receivers than Cole ever did. That was a
Yeah,
very
Cole
run.
had to work for it.
Yeah.
He had to earn it.
Boy, he was
Yeah, I mean,
good,
you just
though.
see what he did
Yeah, he
in
was.
the state championship game and how he rose down with some tremendous throws. He was
Cole is on
Didn't
the.
he also play on a torn ACL for like several games?
Who,
or
Cole
something?
I
did?
think
Yeah,
he
I'm pretty
did.
sure he
Yeah.
did.
I was about ready to
Yeah.
bring that up.
Yeah, that guy's a dog.
That dude's
I did
an
see him. I did see him have a fender bender in the parking lot at Colleton Prep once, though.
Oh boy.
He knows what I'm talking
And
about. Back
that
his
would be
truck
a
into somebody.
DAWG, folks. Not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a DOG.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Big
So yeah, I think we're all pretty bullish on Colleton. Thomas Hayward, would I be shocked if they somehow pulled off a miracle and beat Williamsburg and got back? No, not
No.
at all, because Tony O'Banner's still over there, and them boys
So is
are
Gibson.
they build themselves up exactly, and they build themselves up to
And
win in
Williamsburg
October and
has had-
November.
Williamsburg over the last couple of years has had issues stopping Tony O'Banner too. So
They have.
But then
They-
again,
they got-
everybody
they
has.
have
Just
Tony
go back to
O'Banner
a year ago.
PTSD.
Yeah.
They have Tony O'Banner PTSD, no question. So we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the 2A bracket.
Did we get the
Where are
Dorchester
we?
Beaufort Academy game?
We
Did
didn't.
even-
Oh,
We need
we
to do
we
that.
didn't preview
we
that.
didn't pick on
Shoot.
that. I was sorry.
I don't know what I was doing there. Dorchester Beaufort Academy. Yeah, let's get to that one. That maybe the best matchup of the bunch.
Yeah.
Dorchester beat BA a couple, well, a lot of weeks ago. It kind of started BA's tailspin a little bit. It was 21-8 on September 19th. If I recall, it was 14-8 for a long time, and then Dorchester put together a long sustained drive and punched
Yep.
it in and kind of took the wind out of the sails. Um, I It's crazy to me that BA can't beat Dorchester. Like I feel like they should be
Yeah.
able to.
Yeah.
They're so much more well-rounded.
They got
Dorchester
talent, man. They
is
got
very much
depth,
one
too.
dude. But I don't know. I can't get my head around that. It feels like BA has
it's
more
hard to
juice,
it's
but
hard to
they
trust
haven't
them.
been
This has
able to
been a
beat them.
theme near the end of the season in the Nick Schuford era that they have had
Mhm.
tremendous starts, and then once the weather gets
They
colder,
fizzle out.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
just don't know if I can trust them
I'm with
in
you.
this matchup against a Dorchester Academy team that I've liked what I've seen from them, and they were competitive against Williamsburg Academy to a degree. They lost 36-21. That's showing how good Williamsburg is. But this Dorchester team beat Carlton Prep by 2 scores. So I
Mhm.
mean, this was no fluke. I think this
No,
Dorchester,
they're very physical.
yeah.
They're very tough.
I mean, Buford Academy is going to have to come up and really match that physicality and play to that high level. And they have guys who can pull through. I mean, we've seen Nick Underwood. I mean, he had a decent game. He had a great game against Thomas Hayward, but when they needed stops, they were not able to get them. That BA defense and against a very good Dorchester Academy team, which I mean, I've been impressed with what I've seen from them. I mean, it's going to take such a very high level of execution. I mean, do you trust that defense? Do you trust Nick Schuford to make some plays? I think that's what it boils down to. And
Checking
right
out
now,
the huddle highlights from the first meeting. Nick Underwood broke a
Yeah.
long run. Go ahead, Wes.
I'm just not convinced right now that they have just that mentality that they need right now. I just think that Dorchester Academy with that physicality, with the way they can really fight you on defense. I think Buford Academy has the guys to beat them. I think it's just a matter of can Nick Schuford avoid those turnovers from last week and be smart with the football and can that line win the battle? Because if they don't, if the blocking up front doesn't hold and Nick Underwood doesn't have anywhere room to run, they're not going to have a chance in this game. So I think that Buford Academy is going to have to play their best game of the season by far. It's certainly possible, but from where they are trending, not much convinced me in that Thomas Hayward game that they're going to be ready to go in a winner go home situation against
Yeah.
a Worcester team. I just think that aside from that Williamsburg game, this Raiders team has been very consistent. They play with a lot of aggressiveness, and to hold Carlton Prep to 14 points, that's doing something. Allow 29 against Williams. That one might be. Not sure that one might be after they sub team players. I don't know. But other than that, I mean, 21-8 the first meeting. I'm not convinced BA's offense at this point is firing all cylinders, and I just think Dorchester has a lot more guys that can cause disruptions. And so I think by the way Dorchester Academy plays, getting home field advantage is huge, and
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go with the Raiders. Yeah,
Max,
it's
go ahead after Wes finishes.
yeah. I mean, it's tough for VA. I mean, this is a team that early in the season I really thought had a chance to turn the corner, but in a couple of performances, and especially in a game which I really thought they would have against Thomas Hayward, they did not show up to the level that they needed to, and I just don't see them doing it at Dorchester.
Yeah. Maxie?
Yeah. Oh man. Here's my thing. I think I agree with Wes. I think they've lost some steam over the last few weeks or so. I'm disappointed in Beaver Academy, to be honest, because I
Yeah,
expect so much more out of them. You know,
a 5-0 start felt real.
it felt real. And
Yeah.
I thought they were going to have a shot against Colleton Prep. You know, I thought that was going to be a great game. It ended up being a pretty decent game, but Colleton Prep
Mhm.
just had the better, night over what was it, a 3-week
The,
span.
the better half a night, another half a night.
Yeah.
It was really the first half of the night. It was the first night that they got the better of them. They were up
And
14-0
you
and they
looked
won
at
by
the
14.
second night and you just said this isn't the same Buford Academy team we saw the first time they were playing that first
Are
half
they
that they
missing
played.
anybody?
I feel like they are because I just can't see them losing, and struggling this much unless they were missing someone.
Yeah, and I
Because
haven't seen them, but is one of the bigs out? Because they had the two big guys in the middle with Ra and
I feel
but they
as if
haven't been
they're
posting their stats lately, so I can't tell.
I feel as if they're missing someone because I just can't see. I mean, yeah, I thought Colleton Prep might be able to outlast Beaver Academy, but apart from that, I thought they were going to play good against Dorchester, which they did kind of. But I also thought they were going to have good games. I thought they were going to beat Thomas Hayward. If I'm being completely honest,
I
I
did
thought they were
too.
going to be able to outlast and
I
beat
did.
Thomas Hayward, and they didn't, and that's disappointing. And I don't think they're there. I just don't think they're all there put together. And it's
Yeah.
disappointing. But I gotta go with
Yeah,
Dorchester.
I think they lost. I think they lost the
Did they lost?
I think they lost Raw. He didn't have any defensive stats.
That's a huge loss.
I think they lost Raw. I think that's what it is. Because he didn't
Yeah.
have any defensive stats against AJ.
Oh,
I've been trying to figure it out. I knew there had to be something.
I'm trying to
Didn't make
remember because I
sense.
was at that second half of that Colleton Prep BA game, and I'm now trying to think. Was there someone that I wasn't seeing on the field that should have been there? And I'm trying to think about it now, and I'm gonna have to go back and look at all the videos that I took of that game between those two to see if there was anyone
Yeah,
missing at that point in the
he didn't
season.
have any defensive stats against them either. I think Raw got hurt again.
Oh,
Which that would explain everything.
yeah,
And that's why they couldn't. That's why they can't stop the run because he's
yeah.
your run
And I
stuffer.
think if
Um,
that's the case and you can't stop the run, I just don't see a way of them beating Dorchester.
right.
And for that reason, I'm gonna have to go with the Raiders here over Beaver Academy. And I really hate to do that because I really do like this Beaver Academy team when they're firing on all cylinders.
Amen.
But they're not firing on all
Right.
cylinders. They haven't been firing
No.
on all cylinders for at least the last 3 to 4 weeks. So I got to go with Dorchester Academy in this one.
I do too. I was about ready to take BA for the upset, but I'm going to go with Dorchester. It just I don't know what it is, but it was alluded to earlier. BA gets off to these hot starts and then they
Mhm.
just fizzle down in the second half of the season. The weather gets cold or they start to tire out a little bit. I'm not sure what exactly it is. In this case, injuries could very well be an issue. Um, yeah, Dorchester can definitely run the football. They're a very dangerous team. BA has the athletes, but I do not see them having quite enough. I think this game, if BA plays the way I think they're capable of playing, I think this has a chance to be very close. But they have to really execute, and they just haven't been doing it enough at all lately.
Yeah.
Going to take Dorchester by a good couple of touchdowns.
Here's my other thing because we obviously Wes has mentioned that during the second half of the season, Beaver Academy has been known to fizzle down, but I have not seen them fizzle down quite like this. You
Yeah.
know, and
No, there was
Last
another year.
last
There was
year,
another.
Yeah.
or was it
It's
a
like
Was
3 years
couple
in
of
a
years
it
row.
ago?
wasn't last
three
year.
or
It might have been
the
2-3 years
Clay
ago.
Lore's senior year, whatever year that
Yeah.
was.
Was it the
Oh, that's
first
a
year
good
that
point.
Clifford
Yeah,
was there?
that's right.
They started
I think that's
gangbusters.
when we called the HHCA BA game that was 36-16
Well, for a
a
couple
couple of years
years, I
back.
think it was because they started so early. Remember, they were playing that
Right.
like week -2
Yeah,
game,
Right.
they played
and
yeah.
so in
That
order to
was
get
fun.
ready, and it was always
And
a
they
big
always
game.
start early.
They were always playing somebody like a high profile game. and I think they started so early and got after it so early that they burned out literally,
Yeah.
The last
like
time they
their
did
flame
that,
burned out. But
I'm
they
trying
didn't
to
do
remember.
that this year. So I think
Yeah,
injuries is part of it. I think the schedule just it was kind of
killed
backloaded.
them.
So
Yeah.
that when they got to the back end, they had some tough matchups.
Well,
But
I can remember. I believe it
I
was
just
last season. Last season they started off at Charleston Southern against
Yes.
Northwood Academy to start out the
right,
season last year,
right,
and I
yeah,
just thought I don't like how that's a
yeah,
4A school against a 1A
yeah. And
school to start out the
they
season.
got boat race too.
Yeah. Whooped.
Yeah, they got boat raced. I mean, that was the worst. That is the worst matchup you want to have. If you're going to play someone up, go
Right.
play a 2A program or even a 3A
Well,
program. You
but
know,
was Northwood when they scheduled them, or were they still First Baptist? Because remember, there was a switcheroo that year. I
no,
think
I
that
think
was
it was. Oh, that's a great question,
no, but I
actually.
mean, it was. I think it might have been where they scheduled Northwood when they were basically First Baptist,
First
and then they did the
Baptist,
switcheroo, and
but even
they got
still, even
bait and
still,
switched. But yeah, that was ill advised. But
yeah,
I hope they bounce back. But I think, especially if Ra's
can't
not
I
healthy,
can't
then
vote
I
for them.
just what you got to do to beat Dorchester is you got to put them behind the sticks early and get them off the field.
Oh,
Because
you
if
got to
they can
stop the
hold the
run.
ball, it's
You
just
have
like
to.
May River. If they can get into third and short and they can move the sticks, they're going to run that clock down. And BA is
Yeah,
only going to touch it 5 or 6 times, and then they're
exactly.
not going to be able to really exploit
Yeah.
their athleticism and their speed.
Yep.
So yeah, I think I'm on the Raiders as well, but I
Hey,
hope BA
Ray.
proves me wrong. Prove
Devil
me
I would
wrong,
love
Raiders.
it.
boys. I
Would
would love
love
a
to see it.
BA Colleton rematch.
Oh, that'd
Now
be
we can move
great.
on to
It'd be
2A.
great.
Sorry for doing so prematurely earlier. But in the other games, you got PD Orangeburg, Bethesda, Thomas Sumter, and Greenwood Dylan Christian. Nothing. PD Orangeburg will be a good game. The others should
Yeah.
be pretty ugly. And then
Yep.
our game, Calhoun Academy against Hilton Head Prep. The
Yeah, we know where that one's
Dolphins,
going.
weird finish to the season for the Dolphins because I feel like they played two of their best games of the year in losses to JP2 and HHCA, but then in
Yeah.
So
between they
true.
had that weird short rest game against Dillon
Still
that we
the
thought they
dumbest
could have
thing I've
won.
still the
And
dumbest thing I've ever seen them do because I
yeah,
had to look at the schedule and they could have
it
played it
doesn't
on
make
Friday.
sense.
They could have
It
played it
it,
on a Friday.
it
It's
makes
just
not a
stupid.
lick of sense to me. I
Strange.
don't understand it.
They
Yeah.
they
Um,
still managed to keep that game relatively close, only losing by 10,
hmm
Yep.
which is good. And Hilton Head Prep had a really good year. You take a look at the record, and you don't think so necessarily,
right.
but from where they started to where they ended, they
hmm
were very competitive in several of those games of
They're a
those 10
lot better
regular
now
season
than they
games.
were
Yes.
early. A lot
Oh
better.
yeah.
Without question.
Right.
And we've obviously exhausted ourselves on the reasons why, but kudos to Doug McFadden and that coaching staff, as we talked even about at length the other
Yep.
night about what they've been able to do. I just think that they don't have enough for Calhoun. I'm with with me kind of going on the diatribe. I'll lead off here. I'm going to take Calhoun to get the job done. Heck of a job for Hilton Head Prep, and you know the momentum is going forward for them. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do next year, but I don't see them beating Calhoun.
It's been a step in the right direction for Doug McFadden's team after really a rough start to the year. They able to turn things around, get a couple of wins, but this is a challenging one against the Calhoun team that has had a terrific year, 9-1, heading into this game, and
Only lost to Colleton Prep in a
yeah,
6-point
and that
game.
was a tight one, 6-point
Yeah.
game, 34-28. So this is a pretty solid team that I think has a chance to contend in for a 2A title this year. But chance to play with some pride in your last game and a chance to make it close and put together a good showing. And I think we'll see that for Davis Cargill and that squad, especially for some of the seniors who want to end it on the right footing and try to build the foundation to continue into this coming year. But Calhoun Academy, I've been impressed with what I've seen from them. They have really looked the parts. I mean, they've really took care of everybody that they have faced
Yeah.
in dominant fashion. And of course, besides that one blemish that they have had, Carlton Prep, but other than that, they have blown through everybody else, and I expect them to take care of business against Hilton and Prep at home. But encouraging sign for the Dolphins. They're competitive late in the year, and I think Doug McFadden has done a good job up to this point, and really, revitalize his program to a degree, but continuing to really strengthen,
Coaching up what he's got.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He
Developing
did a good
developing
job
what he
with who he
has.
had, and I think he's strengthened the group as a whole, and I think he'll continue to do that, but not to the degree of a playoff win this year.
Yeah, I don't think so. Actually,
Yeah, I think for me, I think for this coaching staff, it's going to be a learning experience for them as to where they sit as a program going into next season. I think this is one of those kinds of games for Hilton Head Prep. The thing for me about Hilton Head Prep is I love how they've been playing as of late, but the problem for me is they haven't been able to get over the hump, even if they're behind in the third quarter. They've been able to make it close in the third quarter. They come out of the half firing on all cylinders, but have not been able to finish the game out. I think that's my biggest thing with Hilton Head Prep. I just think in this matter, I think Cole Layton for Calhoun Academy is just an absolute dog, an absolute one heck of a quarterback that they have there. I just don't see Hilton Head Prep able to withstand the power and the depth that Calhoun has. I think Calhoun Academy wins this game, but I wouldn't put it past Prep to make it a close game through the first half.
It was 42-27 last year in the first round, which
That's
was a
right.
heck of a fight by Prep.
Right.
I think they do well to keep it that close this time because I think this is a better Calhoun team than you saw last year. Layton's another
Right.
year older; he's a junior. They got other
Oh my
guys who
God,
can
he's
run the
only a
ball as
junior.
well. Yeah.
Oh,
So I think it's going to be a little bit too much for Prep to overcome, but that defense has played really tough
Yeah, they're
the
solid.
last few weeks, and so I expect that they'll make them work for it in the first half. I wouldn't be surprised if they're within a touchdown or certainly within two going into halftime, and keep it close. But I think Calhoun's just got a little bit too much and looks like a state championship contender. I think it's them and Bethesda
Oh
in
yeah.
the finals in this
Oh
one.
yeah.
No question for me.
And that should be one heck of a state title game if those two
yeah.
teams make it that far. I think that's going to be a fantastic state title match.
Yeah, should be a good
But
one. Um,
I would say
but
I think Bethesda's
yeah,
better.
Bethesda's the favorite. They're the favorite.
Yes.
They've been untouchable this year.
Yeah.
What's their points for points against? It's craziness.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
I just
The one
gotta
thing they
find
haven't done is play
somebody.
Calhoun Academy, so I don't fully know
Right.
what we could do against them.
Yeah, they haven't played each other, but
Which makes it even
Bethesda
more intriguing.
Bethesda has scored 424 points and allowed 81.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, their lowest
Wow.
scoring output was a 28-26 win over Williamsburg. So they've
Oh, that
Yeah.
just shows you how good that Williamsburg
Yeah.
team is. Golly.
the 28 points that HHCA scored against them and Williamsburg scored are the most they've allowed. So
Holy
they're,
crap.
as you said
Oh
earlier,
my
they're an
God.
absolute unit.
Yeah.
So
Whoa.
all right, on to the 3A brackets.
All right.
You got
Two
Wilson
really
Hall and
good
First
games.
Baptist should be a walkover, and then Pinewood Prep Northside Christian should also be a
Yeah.
walkover. But our two games, I like the matchups here a lot. As I said earlier, Max, you alluded last week that HHCA was hoping for Trinity because of the matchup, the stylistically speaking.
Yeah.
And I think JP2 was probably hoping for Florence. They're tough against the run,
Yep.
and Florence has been a little susceptible to the run. So I like both these matchups for our teams. Let's start with HHCA at home against Trinity Collegiate. We feel certainly a lot different about HHCA than we did a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Cress Langhouse has really grown into the role. He's showing that he can run that offense. He can run. He can pass. He's got weapons galore. And they get a matchup in Trinity Collegiate that is right up their alley. I mean, it's a team that is not the most physical, and HHCA doesn't handle physicality in the trenches quite as well as it has in the past. Both these teams are 5-5. The last time they met, we alluded to in 2019, the wild and windy and wet
Yep.
state championship
brother
game,
was on that team.
55-49 Trinity and OT. Trinity's won all three all time, but I'm taking Peduzzi's Eagles, the Junkyard Dogs, to buck
Well,
the
they may not
trend. I'm
be.
going to take HHCA at home.
May not call them the junkyard dogs anymore to that degree,
Yeah,
but
no.
they still showed a lot. And that I was thoroughly impressed in that JP2 game, the way they were able to find a way to come through and deliver with that offense
Yes.
yeah, with what Langhouse is able to do. Just it's not much time under center, but I think he showed a lot, and they continued. Although Hilton Prep made that interesting, that game interesting,
did.
and it was a one score game late, or at least in the third quarter, I
was.
believe, from what I saw from Max's comments about the game. So I was, I expect a little bit more from Hilton Christami in that one. Peduzzi's a team that, or Peduzzi's a coach that, when they're on point, they're gonna put them distance between them and Hilton Head Prep. But and, it's exciting because you got two teams with very similar styles. Trinity Collegiate has shown that they can find that explosive attack on offense and make big plays down the field. Lynch has thrown over for over 2,000 yards. Davidson Lynch, the quarterback over there at Trinity Collegiate, senior. So this should be a fun matchup, and I expect it to be a tremendous back and forth game. This might be one of the better games to go to over the week, even with combined with the high school league games. I think it should be a tremendous atmosphere. It always is, but when you get to the playoffs, the cage gets to another level. They will be rocking at an even in more insane clip over there at HHCA. But I think it's going to be up to the defense to stop Robert Mack on the ground, who has been quite a force as a junior. But I like what I've seen. I think Hilton Christiani has really grown defensively. I think this can be a case of who can force the opposition to make mistakes through the air, or poke the ball loose for turnovers. I think whoever's able to win that turnover battle and make big plays happen on defense is going to find a way to win this game. And man, what a year it has been for Hayden Burden, at least recently. Breakout sophomore. He has been incredibly impactful on the defensive side. Ossery, senior leader, how key has his impact been? And then you see some guys who are really starting to find a lot more younger players, like a Talbert, like an Aiken, who are starting to really step up and blend into the system that we've seen from Ron Peduzzi over the years. Guys who we're going to find a way to force that key turnover. And then on the you look at guys like Jackson Richardson with 3 picks who can make an impact. Langhouse is a two-way guy. I like the way that they're molding into especially the defensive side. I think there are guys who are starting to find the game that they know they can deliver in a big time matchup in a playoff game. So it's a very intriguing matchup with two teams that pride themselves on that explosive air raid offense. I think Hilton Chris Langhouse, who was really starting to find his groove. We've seen it before with Hilton Chris teams that find just that extra gear in November. And I feel like this team is going to emulate that on Friday. I think the defense to come through with a couple of big turnovers, interceptions, and that will be enough to push this new look Hilton Chris team to the second round in a 8 game.
Here's the deal with HHCA as I see it, because I've seen them twice in the last 2 weeks. Saw him with Max against Hilton Head Prep, and I saw him with Max in the game that I called against JP2. Hudson Baker ran like a man possessed against JP2. Hilton Head Prep kept him contained.
Yep.
Joey hopped in both games, caught everything in sight. And Cress Langos really impressed me in the second half of the JP2 game and really throughout the Hilton Head Prep game. He has the ability to throw the long ball and to throw it deep, but he succeeds from what I've seen much better underneath. You know, he's doing a better job too of waiting not too long, but waiting an extra second, finding a second or third read instead of just throwing it right away.
Yeah.
And obviously that defense with guys like Richardson and company are getting better certainly as the year goes on as well. And Richardson can do some things on the offensive side as well.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to, can Hudson Baker make some plays in the running game? That is the key for this game. And can Trinity stop him? I think, based off what I saw against Hilton Head Prep last week, he goes off. And I like HHCA. I've been very impressed with what I've seen
Well,
out of them the
they
last couple of weeks. They
they
are
have
starting to find their footing.
they have been in need of a running back for a team that has a tremendous passing attack. And
Right.
even with losing a guy like McCollum, I've been impressed with what I've seen from Langhouse, and he has stepped right in and done an admirable job, and then some. But if you can get that
They
ground
found him.
attack going, that's
Yeah.
a whole different level of what we could see with this
I-
with this.
I
Hilton
agree
Coach
with
Lang
Max. They
offense.
found him in Baker.
Yep,
Yeah.
he's gonna be that guy who, finds that late season surge with fresh legs, who is really starting to take over and get more
Yeah.
time in there. That's
point.
the X factor right there when you look at what
Yeah.
Hilton Christiani do. And once again, I think I go back to that defense and can they find a way to show up? I mean, you were hoping for better performances against Hilton at Prep, but I still like some of those guys down there, and I think that they'll be able to work hard and look to get a couple of stops. And I think that Ron Panuzzi's teams, they just know how to win in this time of year. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen it sometimes, or they've suffered a couple of losses in the playoffs. But I just like the way this team is
They
trending.
just keep chopping. They just keep plugging.
Yeah, and he's Peduzzi's going to get the most out of his best guys, and
Yeah.
that's going to be the case. And he's going to make.
And he'll
Trinity
double up more guys too.
Yep.
A lot more
Right.
guys are playing both ways than were early in the season. Max,
No
who do you
doubt
got?
the
I expect it-
HHCA alum will be there.
Yeah.
I expect it to be, if not a 2-possession game, 1-possession game. It's going to be tight. I think Trinity has a great team, but I think Hilton Head Christian being at home and having that newfound energy, I think is going to push them over the top, and which should be a thrilling game and maybe one of the best of the week.
Yep.
If I
Max,
wasn't,
is it unanimous, or are you going contrarian against your alma mater?
Here's my thing. I like what HHA is right now compared to what they were. If I'm being honest, I think they look better on offense now than they did with Reed McCollum at quarterback. And that's saying a lot, just because Reed McCollum is a fantastic player at quarterback, as well as linebacker. But I think offensively, I have liked them so much more right now than I did before, of course, Reed McCollum, left HHCA. My thing is this. I think, first of all, the biggest issue HHA is going to have is Kayvon Aiken is for sure out on Friday.
That's tough.
So that's a big loss for them.
Yeah,
Chip
he was
Hetzel is
pickup.
questionable, and so we don't know if he's going to play either. So that's two factors into this. And I think the other thing for me is Trinity Collegiate plays in a region with Wilson Hall and Florence Christian. That's some competitive football out in that region with those two programs. And they're only third just because Florence Christian and Wilson Hall have been, some really strong programs. I look at this game and I think everything's going against HHCA in this game. However, I think Hilton Christian has shown me enough over the last few weeks, despite whatever injuries they have. I think if they can be able to run the football as well as pass it, I think Hudson Baker, like you said, Wes, I think he's the X factor in this game, and I really do believe that. And I think he's going to play the best game he possibly can. against what is a strong Trinity Collegiate team despite their record. I like Trinity Collegiate in this one, but I think I'm going to go with HHCA just because I think A, it's a home game, and B, I just think HHCA has shown me when they have both a running and a passing game going for them, they are really tough to beat. So give me Hilton Head Christian over Trinity Collegiate.
Done.
Oh,
I had it marked down before you even started talking, Max.
Yeah.
who's going to be the trash yard mutt? Don't mess with the mud. All right. So we are in lockstep once again, down to the last one of the night, boys. Will we finish it out? I don't know. This is probably
this might be, yeah.
this is the best the best matchup of the SCISA games. I don't
Maybe
know.
the
I think it
tightest,
might be.
yeah.
I don't know.
So Florence is tough. Florence is tough. They like to run
7-2.
the ball first, but
8-2.
the quarterback is coach's son, Minton. So he's going to know what he's doing out there. They're 7-2. Who are their losses to? Somebody have that up right now.
I believe
They're
Wilson Hall is one of them.
Wilson Hall and
Yeah.
and
Linewood probably.
who? Let's see.
Who?
I don't know. I said who. It's a good question. Florence Christian.
Williamsburg and Wilson Hall.
It's at Florence
Oh, they lost
Christian.
to Williamsburg.
Yeah, they lost to
Ooh.
Williamsburg.
Oh yeah. There you
Oh
go.
my God.
By 13, they lost to Wilson Hall by 19. They beat Trinity pretty handily last week.
By 29.
They shut out PD. They beat Heathwood 14-13. So this is a really quality team. Again, like I said, they prefer to run it first. Minton averages about 10 passes a game, but he completes 62% for not a lot of yards, but he's pretty effective in the play action game. But it's mostly running. They got Andrew Miller is their leading rusher, but they really split it about 4 ways. So you're probably looking at some kind of a flex bone type of situation. JP2 has been really good against the run. I mean, they have stuffed the run pretty effectively. Although I guess Hudson Baker did have his breakout game against them, and Cargill had some success last week too, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, against them, Cargill had a little bit of success against them as well. So,
yes,
maybe not, but man, they really bottled up Colleton Prep early. They bottled up some good running teams. So I like the matchup here. I've been trying to talk myself into picking JP2 here because I just think this team they've had a great season. They've got a lot of confidence, and I just think the matchup makes so much sense for them. Florence has, when they've lost, they've gotten beaten on the ground, and JP2 pounds it at you. I just have a weird feeling. I have a feeling JP2 is bringing this one home. I can't shake it. I'm going Golden Warriors.
I am too. With everything that you just said, JJ, I've got in my head that JP2 does the same things. They may not have quite the same style of athletes, but Jaden Inibinit, good grief. That guy can just run like the wind. Obviously, Boyden, huge player at fullback. He can do a few other things too, certainly on defense. And then Alan Wolf, I mean, his ability to run the football as well as throw the football. Sean Thalen made one of the best catches that I saw all season in that Hilton Head Prep game. This is a really talented football team. And I tell you what, a play here or a play there, and certainly playing a little bit tougher and having enough legs in the final, let's say, 6 to 10 minutes of that game against HHCA, and they might knock off HHCA. This is a really talented team with a lot of great players that have bought in to a tremendous system that Shane Milligan's been running since he got there. You guys know where I'm going with this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. I like JP2, and I like them by about a touchdown or so. I think they're going to come out and really get things rolling.
This is going to be a
fun
fantastic game. if the trip would be well worth it if you want to make your way out to Florence and watch this one. But man, JP2 from that first win that they had against Colleton Prep, this team has captivated me from what they have done.
Yeah.
Nabonet, just a freshman sensation. But how
Can't
much
wait to
has
call his games next
how
year.
much has Alan Wolf grown this year? I just remember the young player that he was a few years ago, trying to learn the system when he got a couple of time or start some time in there early in his career, trying to figure it out. Of course, he was under CT4 Christian Tilton, and we saw what Tilton did throughout his time. But man, Wolf has really learned a lot, and he has been phenomenal recently. I really feel good about this offense. I feel that they're going to find a way to make some big plays happen. The defense has done a good job against the run, but there have been some situations and against good teams like Hilton Christian and Pine but Ref do a good job throwing it. I mean, they're high-powered offenses, high-octane offenses. Can that defense find a way to step up and stop this Florence Christian team enough? Because I do know they run the ball a lot with guys like Davis and Andrew Miller and Poston. But we've seen Minton able to throw the football, and he is connected for some big plays on offense. So, can this defense stay disciplined to avoid big plays and find a way to stay focused and not miss big time tackles in big games this year, their biggest games? I have not been able to see them do that, and they're going to have to really need to step up on offense or on especially on defense. But on the offensive side, I have faith that they are going to find ways with their skill guys to battle and look to put points on the board. Can they find those opportunities to stop Florence Christian in big situations? Can they hang in there early and survive the first quarter or so of the game without getting too far behind or just at least hang around and stay in it long enough to really find the way that they like to play, and because if they hang around and if their offense is able to pull off some of the tremendous big plays that we have seen with guys like Inhabitants and Alan Wolf, as I mentioned, they're going to be right in this game, and I expect a lot from JP2. What an opportunity they have to go on the road and stun a team like this. But I'm as much as I am high on JP2. This Florence Christian team, they're 7-2 for a reason.
They are.
I mean, there are only 2 losses to Williamsburg. Man, that Williamsburg team really is impressive. And then that Wilson Hall squad, they've routed off a couple of nice wins, including a pretty impressive 49-20 victory over Trinity Collegiate. I just think they've really found the formula on offense. They run the ball well. They take shots when they need to. And I'm not convinced that GP2 is going to be able to stop them in big situations enough. So I'm going to go on the contrarian side. I am going to pick the home team. I will go with the Florence Christian
Eagles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think, hats off to JP2 on what has been, a fantastic season for them. Their best season in quite some time. And
Milligan did a fantastic job.
Yeah. And I think this is a program that is on the rise, and they're going to be a real factor in the next, possibly next season.
There's no question, in my opinion.
And I look at this and I think, do they have a chance? Yes. But my problem with this is Florence Christian over the last 2 weeks has probably played their best football yet.
Yeah.
And it's kind of reminded me of HHCA where, late in the season is when they play their best kind of games. And they have been doing that. They're coming in on a 2-game win streak and 2 games that, look, Northside Christian, obviously, they're in the playoffs, but, that it's not as good of a team, but that Trinity Collegiate team is a very solid program, and Florence Christian easily handed them a loss. I don't like how Florence Christian's playing right now. I don't like that they're playing hot. I don't like that they're they've gained confidence over the last 2 weeks, probably more confidence than they've had all season.
That Trinity Collegiate win is that's
huge.
Crushed them.
Yep.
Yeah, it's huge. But the thing for me is, if you look at the beginning part of the season, yeah, they have some wins there, but all of them were pretty close. If I'm being honest, they were closer games against most of their opponents. But I look at it now going into later half of the season. After that loss to, I believe it was Wilson Hall.
Yeah, they lost to
It was.
Wilson
After
Hall
that
by
Wilson Hall loss, which
34-15.
it wasn't. It's not like Hall was, yeah, obviously they got the win, but it wasn't like it was a blowout. Like it was probably a close game for I think 3 quarters or so. I gotta look now because I had the box score up between those two teams. But
Let's see
I
here.
look. Let me get it up here.
Let's not get carried
They
away
don't
here.
have it. Yeah, they don't.
Palin's
Yeah.
nice, but
Right.
basketball's his first sport. He's not
Yeah,
the
that is
best
his
tight end
first.
in the
Sorry,
nation.
Kevin. I hate to disagree with
Let's
you on
don't
that.
be silly.
Yeah.
I think my thing
No.
here is I think Florence
He's
Christian's
got
playing their
12
best.
catches.
Yeah, Florence Christian's playing their best games so far this year. They're playing their best football. Coming into a game, they're at home. That is not an easy trip for JP2 to go up to Florence for the first round of the playoffs. I don't like the situation JP2 is sitting in, and I think for that reason, I got to go with Florence Christian this one. I think they got just too much power, and I think they got a bit more depth at the moment than JP2 has. But I think next season, this JP2 team is going to be a real solid opponent that is going to give a lot of teams some very difficult time. Keep singing,
Sorry, I just
Justin.
had to
Go on,
sing. I
keep
had to
going.
sing "Hold On for One More Day" because Kevin Libby made a Wilson Phillips joke. So, yeah.
But
Hold
I like,
on for
yeah.
one more day. Yeah,
I
that
like
was a good
Florence
one.
Christian. I like Florence
Wilson
Christian.
Phillips gets a bad rap. They made some bangers.
They do get a
back
bad
in the
rap.
day.
That was a
They
hit,
made-
wasn't it? That was
They made some absolute bangers back in the day.
Funky Bunch is a big Wilson
Yeah,
Phillips
I
fan.
mean,
I'll take the
look.
Eagles.
I'm operating purely off a hunch on JP2. I just have a hunch.
Yeah,
I don't
I do
know.
too.
I can almost feel the text from Shane Milligan. You know, like I don't know
Yeah.
why.
And I'll just
I
say this,
feel like
Justin.
they've been knocking on the door, and
I'll
This
just say
team's
this,
wired a
Justin.
little bit differently than
They
some of those
are.
other teams.
They are. I just have a weird feeling about it.
Seeing them on
But
senior
it's
night,
going to be a tough
wow.
one to have to go up to Florence Christian, a really quality, well-coached team. They're going to have to play their best game of the year, but I just feel like it's coming. And so
And I'll just say this:
that's why I'm going there.
usually when you have a hunch, Justin, it usually turns out pretty good for whatever team you have a hunch on. So
We'll see. I don't know.
we'll
I've been
see.
wrong about a lot of things.
I know you've been wrong about a lot of things, but whenever
and
you've
will be
said you've
again.
had
Yeah.
a hunch,
Will
it
be
usually
again.
ends up being a closer game than everyone else expected it to be, and
Yeah,
then it
maybe.
ends up being possibly a win for the team you had a hunch on. So
When I started
Yeah.
researching it and looking at it, I was like, man, this just lines up. It just
it
lines
does
up.
line up.
I completely agree with you.
I just don't know. Florence Christian's been a powerhouse for so many years. Multiple state championship appearances.
Let me call this.
Has to
Mouton's going
start
to get
somewhere.
a pick. Mouton's going to get a pick. They're going to try to go to the air. Mouton's going to get a pick, and that's going to be a big pivotal play that steals a possession. And I just have a feeling JP2 is going to get it done.
Yeah,
All right.
he's one that
but,
I didn't
who's-
Take
mention.
your word on it.
Great
Who's
player.
the favorite in this? He wears the Guardian
In
cap,
3A?
so I like it.
I
Who's the
think
favorite
it's
here?
clear in
Pinewood?
August. Wilson
Pinewood?
Hall and Pinewood. I think Pinewood's the favorite.
I think Pinewood is
Although,
it's
actually,
pretty
hold
good.
on, because if I'm not mistaken, did Wilson Hall not beat Pinewood Prep? I think they did.
oh, I could
I
check
think
that
they
right
did.
now.
Yeah, I'm about to check it because I can neither confirm nor deny based on memory
Yes,
alone.
they did. They beat Pinewood Prep
Um,
28-21 the last time they
They
faced
sure
each other.
did.
Well,
So
7-point game.
I don't
I mean,
know.
it's
Yeah,
up
it
in
was
here. I
at
think those
Wilson
two
Hall.
teams-
It was at Wilson Hall.
It was
This
at
will be
Wilson
neutral.
Hall.
But
Yep.
I think
I
think
think it's
Prep's the
split
favorite.
here
Should be a
between
good
those
one.
two teams. They meet
Yeah,
again in
I
the state
think Pinewood.
championship.
Yeah, I think Pinewood Prep's the favorite, but I think Wilson Hall will make that one heck
mean,
That
of
would be a good
championship
game. It would be a great
Most
rematch.
7-point games are going to come down to a couple of plays. So
Yeah, right.
I mean, a 7-point game is nothing as far as
Yeah, maybe one or two plays
predicting
decided
another
that. Yeah.
a rematch.
That's why I think I like Pinewood in
the
this
rematch
bracket.
is all about the adjustments. You know.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that'll be really interesting if we get a rematch in that state championship game. But maybe
But it
one of the
would.
Loco teams can spoil it. We'll see.
But what
Um,
would be interesting is to see Hilton Head Christian play Wilson Hall because they have
That
not
would be
played them
fun.
this season, and
Yep.
that could be a
true.
game to watch for if
Could
they get
be.
there.
Could be. We'll see.
Yes, well,
Then
yeah.
get by Trinity. All right, boys. We previewed all the SCISA games. Good thing we broke them up because we're an hour and a
Yeah.
half deep. We would have had a
Yeah,
9-hour show
we're gonna
tomorrow
have
night.
some time tomorrow.
We've got a whole bunch more to preview tomorrow for the high school league recap or preview show. We'll go through all the brackets again: 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, 5A. Well, maybe we'll look at 5A and just see what it looks like. But that'll be the last
Very
time we
interesting,
pay
5A.
attention to that because we don't have any of those yet. Maybe soon? Question mark.
Yeah.
We'll see. We got a
Maybe.
realignment coming. May River keeps
Yeah.
growing, but we're all set for the SCISA playoffs, and we'll be back tomorrow night with Jalen Singletary to preview the high school league. But any parting thoughts before we go, gents?
Really looking forward to this weekend. Going to be a fun weekend of football. A fun weekend, playing the games on Friday, recapping on Saturday, or heading into college Saturday, recapping those games that were at Friday night. And it's official. I am going to be on the call with
On the
Javon
Yes.
at that Gilbert Bluffton game. He reached out to me yesterday, and I said, yeah, I plan on being there. I was thinking maybe May River. I talked to Ray Alonso. I'm thinking Ray's going to be at that May River game, so I'm going to
Yep,
head over there
that's
and
the
then
plan.
help out Javon, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what this Gilbert team can do against Bluffton, who, to my eye, and seeing Bluffton as much as I've seen them this year, one of the best teams in this area, without question. A lot of great teams, a lot of great heart, and you get into this time of the year. It's the new season for a reason, boys, and it's going to be fun.
That's right.
Yep.
Show.
Kevin Libby has buttered you up with a compliment, and
Oh,
then
thank you.
he has asked you if he can convince you to turn your phone sideways and shoot horizontal. What's up, Hampton County? We'll be talking about y'all tomorrow night. We got
There you go,
Agent
Kev.
Zero coming on. There you go. He wants to see the wide shot. All right, Max Raj, parting
That
thought.
kind of distorts my head.
Well, obviously, of course, outside of Loco Sports, obviously the NFL trade deadline has come and gone.
Sauce.
Yeah,
What's going on at the
Over
Jets?
there.
I
They
think
they
we
are
know. I think we know who the
they are
biggest
racking up
seller
those
was.
first round picks.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
sold everybody.
Yeah, they sold everyone.
Yeah, they did.
From Sauce Gardner to Quinnen Williams over to the Cowboys, which, by the way,
Nice pickup.
it is a good pickup. It's funny though because the Cowboys did pick up another defensive player from Cincinnati Bengals, which makes me laugh because Cincinnati has the worst defense.
Bengals did not
in
need to be
football.
giving away no players.
Yeah, Bengals
Yeah.
had the worst defense in
Crazy.
football, and they've sent him to the second worst defense in football so far this
Yep.
season in the Dallas Cowboys. So I just think that's kind of hilarious. But other than that, there's not really much to talk about. Obviously, baseball season is come and gone.
Yeah, college hoops.
Basketball's starting to pick up. College
Mhm.
hoops has begun, which is exciting.
Big win for Duke against Texas
yeah,
last
huge
night.
Yeah,
Curry and I agree on that one. Down with Duke.
No doubt.
Curry Kirkpatrick. Yeah, so college hoops is going. We got Maction going tonight.
yeah.
Of course.
Maction is going tonight.
Yeah, it's hot and
Um,
heavy. West Curry.
Yeah. Well, I was intrigued by the first wave of the college football
Oh yeah.
rankings, and Ohio State. Is
Oh, yeah.
anyone going to beat them this year? Because that's
Yeah, I
the
think
big
so.
question. They are on a different level compared to most teams that I have seen. San has been just terrific under center. He's really done a good job, and then some. And that entire unit just plays with so much poise and athleticism. I mean, they have become the team to beat, the gold standard in college football. And it's going to be difficult for any team to knock them off their pedestal. But I just can't believe that Indiana, a team that with so much basketball history, is putting together quite a challenge to them, and I'm not sure they have what it takes to knock them off, but
I think
kudos
they
to them
do.
for what they're doing. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think Indiana's going to put in a major
I hope
challenge
so.
to what Ohio State has
I'll be pulling
continued to do.
for them.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think most of
I think if anyone's going to beat Ohio State before the playoffs, I think it's Indiana. I think Indiana
Yeah.
can beat Ohio State, especially with how they've been
Yeah, I
playing.
don't think that team up
Yep.
north's got it this year.
Yeah, no, I don't think Michigan's got it.
Heck to the no.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
I
No
think
chance.
I think Indiana can beat Ohio State with how they've been playing as of late. I think they can beat Ohio State. I really do like that Indiana team. They've been firing on all cylinders. I think this is their second season in a row now that they've gone undefeated up to this point in the season. So I think
Sounds right.
I think Ohio State will be a real challenge for Indiana. But I think if those two teams end up playing each other in the Big Ten title game, which looks very likely
Yeah,
now,
it looks like they're on a collision course at this point.
Yeah.
I
to meet
do
that
think Indiana can beat Ohio State, and I wouldn't put it past me to think that Indiana can make it all the way to the
both
playoff
teams will make it
semifinal.
into the playoff with the 12-team format.
Oh God, yeah.
If we were talking,
Unless
if
they lose a
this
different
was still
game.
4
Yeah.
teams, it would have
Right.
been winner gets in, loser.
Well, and here's the thing:
out.
I wouldn't put it past Indiana to make it to the Final Four either. I
Yeah,
wouldn't put it past them.
They're one of the best teams in the country. Mizzou got A&M at home.
Oh, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
We need it. We need it. We got a
Yeah.
freshman
We do
quarterback
need
making
it.
his first start too.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yep.
It's a little dicey.
And by the way, my second part, you thought also related to college football. Clemson is in jeopardy of ending their 21-year bowl streak. They are right now 3-5. 3-5, so they need to win at least 3 of their last 4, and they would have to beat either one of Florida State or Louisville, and then they also beat South Carolina if they take down one of those 2 teams. So it is crazy to even have that conversation with how dominant Clemson's program has been. It is completely fallen off.
Didn't take very long when you issued NIL and the transfer portal to
well, like I said, completely different landscape, and Dabo Sweeney has really fallen off with just adjusting to the new way of what college football is. So they're going to be at a very perplexing position in the offseason. And Dabo's going to have to really find a way to adjust, and because he's losing some recruits.
Look, man, I don't know. I think they're going to give him the James Kelly treatment. If they lose a couple more, they're going to start chanting for him to go.
I wonder.
Good luck.
If Dabo Sweeney goes from one Tiger to the other. I wonder if he goes to LSU.
No.
I don't think they want him right now.
No.
I think he's damaged goods at the moment.
Let me just tell you this:
they're going for Kiffin.
Sorry, but no college football program in Division I is going to take Dabo Sweeney if he does not accept the fact that the transfer portal is here and you're going to have to use it. If he can't accept that, no school is going to take him. Sorry, but that's the truth.
Well, and he's got to understand that the my way or the highway doesn't work anymore because the highway's wide and you can drive 85 on it. Like it don't work anymore.
I have to disagree with you on this one, Marcus. I don't think LSU would take a look at him.
No chance.
No doubt.
I heard you. I got it.
Look, they're bidding with Florida for Lane Kiffin. Period, and they'll probably outbid him.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Did I see correctly? James Franklin's now at Virginia Tech. He's going to be their next head coach at Virginia Tech. Yeah.
You did.
It's very interesting. By the way, the highest paid contract that Virginia Tech has ever given out to a head coach for the football program. So I hope that works out for them. But if it doesn't, oof.
Is anybody accepting anything less than the highest contract that the school has ever given out at this point? I think that's like a prerequisite.
For the record, I do think that Clemson may be able to beat Florida State.
Yeah, that's possible. They're
Florida
equally
State.
I don't.
They got off to that great start. They're terrible.
Here's my
Well,
thing.
he'll be insufferable if they run the table.
Here's my
Dabo.
thing. If they don't get
I
rid of
told you.
Dabo, yeah. Here's the thing. If they don't get rid of Dabo, they're gonna have to get rid of either Garrett Riley or Tom Allen.
Yeah.
One of those two, if not both. Because
Yeah,
both
well, yeah,
defensive and
'cause
offensive coordinators have done absolutely nothing to help this program.
well, and that's
Nothing.
often how a coach saves his job. They say we're going to keep you, but you gotta bring in new coordinators because this ain't working.
But
So
they've tried that already and it hasn't
yeah,
worked out. So I think it's gotten to the
yeah.
point where it's gonna be like it's you or not at all. Like
I think he's probably done.
I think he's
Yes,
done.
this is almost always true. The football coaches are usually the highest paid state official in the state.
Yes.
Yes.
Usually way more than the governor.
The governor
Um,
doesn't make anything compared to college football
yeah,
coaches. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. They're making millions with
Yeah,
an S.
Dabo's making at
Um,
least like 15 million, maybe more. You
yeah,
know, like
I
they're
think
making
he's
loads of money.
he's toast. Well, for my parting thought, I'll switch it up a little bit. I told you, wrestling and basketball season started this week. We have not talked about it yet, but the Ville, it was last minute, but the Ville did make their coaching hires. They've been in the works for a while, but they were in place, in time for the first day of practice, and bringing a legend, Jasper County legend, back to the bench with Frederick Toomer taking over
That's right.
the
That's
boys
huge.
team. He won a state championship with the girls at Ridgeland. He's had a lot of success over the years, and he's coached the boys as well. And now he's taken over our
Yep.
boys program. They should be solid. A lot of guys out, ton of guys out. They're excited about it, and we don't have the basketball guys yet, or the football guys yet. So we'll only get better. And then on the girls' side, we were really work in progress last year. We had a lot of young kids. Like basically, we had a JV team, like eighth and ninth graders playing our varsity schedule is for the girls. So they'll be much improved. And Coach, shoot, I can't even say her name, Quadeja. Coach Q, she's taken over for the girls program. She was on the bench last year, and girls seem to be excited to play for her. And then our wrestling program, we're getting it up and running with me and Coach Gearhart. But the other thing I wanted to mention about wrestling, we talk about May River Wrestling and a lot about May River Wrestling and the dominant program they built over there. I got a son in the program now, so I'm getting insight into how those little warriors are built. And day 3 of practice today, Freeman told me he did 205 push-ups and 75 pull-ups
Damn.
Wow.
Wow. Whoa.
in a 2-hour practice in between all the wrestling. When
Damn.
you're the third guy who's not wrestling, you're doing pull-ups and push-ups. So no
Jiminy
secret
Christmas.
to how
No
those May
sleep for
River
the weary.
state
Woo.
champs are. Oh no, you sleep like a baby when you get home. There's sleeping is not a
Oh, that's
problem
true. But
Yeah.
after 205 push-ups, and they started out with 20 in a set, and now they're already up to 25. So God
wow.
knows how many they'll be doing in a set before the
That's
end of the
nuts.
season.
Um
But that's why we're wrestling to get stronger for baseball, boys.
yeah,
Right.
that's true. Good point.
What you got,
Awesome.
Wes or Max? You me.
Sorry. I was having to take a look now that we were talking about coaches and what they get paid and stuff briefly. By the way, Dabo Sweeney's contract, he signed an extension in 2021, $115 million for 10 years.
Ugh.
Jesus, that's
So
15.5.
if they fire him this year, the buyout
Oh
if they
my.
fire him this year, the buyout is
Ugh.
$60 million. If they fire him next year, it will be $57 million.
Oh,
Or so they have the option of paying him that throughout
Wow.
to 2031, or they pay him immediately.
Whoa, Nelly.
So
Oh
yeah,
my. The words of
$115
Keith
million,
Jackson and
people.
Dick Enberg. May they both rest in peace.
I
Wow.
think he's cooked. I think he's cooked. Honestly. We'll see. All right, boys. Well, part 1 down, almost a full-length feature movie. We got the SCISA games previewed. We'll be back tomorrow night with the high school league matchups. Got some great ones on tap over there with, let's see here, South Aiken at Hilton Head, Gilbert at Bluffton, Wilson at May River, and Buford at South Point in Class 4A, Battery Creek at Loris in 3A, Lake City at Hampton County, and Whale Branch at Philip Simmons in 2A, and then Bethune-Cookman at Ridgeland and Lakeview at Hardyville in 1A. So looking forward to that tomorrow night, boys. Shout out to our other sponsors that I missed earlier. Hudson Seafood House on the Docks, HHI Windows and Doors, Twinge and Twombly Personal Injury Attorneys, also Reverence Wrestling Club, our official wrestling sponsor, and Jay's Barbershop, where it's great, where it's always a great place to be in Richland, the place to be in Richland, whether you need a haircut or not. So we will be back tomorrow night for Marcus Walsh, Max Raj, and Wes Kerr. I'm Justin Jarrett. Till next time, go Loco.